How's it going, everyone? And welcome back to Rangers Rundown. Say what you will about the Rangers, they keep it interesting. Falling tonight to the Carolina Hurricanes 4-3, so Carolina solidifying their first place spot in the Metropolitan Division, which means the Rangers solidify their second place spot in the Metropolitan Division. Pittsburgh and Washington both lost tonight. Which means they stay in the same exact spot. Washington only 1 point behind Pittsburgh with, I believe, 1 game in hand. So if Pittsburgh wins their final game of the season and Washington wins their last 2 games of the season, one of which is against the Rangers could end up playing Washington in the playoffs. It's going to come down to that final game, Rangers versus Washington. Yeah, because if Pittsburgh wins their final game and Washington wins their next game, then Washington will still be behind by 1 point, and then they need to beat the Rangers to get into third place. Rangers, there is a strong likelihood that they will have their destiny in their hands on who they end up playing in the first round of the playoffs. It's a really cool situation to be in, and it's going to make that final game of the season a lot more fun to watch now that there's more stakes at hand. But Stephen McDonald Extra Effort Award went to Kreider this evening, so good for him. Kreider, Zibanejad, Vetrano, Panarin, Strome, Kopp, Lafreniere, Hedel, Goudreau, Hunt, Rooney, Reeves, Lindgren, Fox, Miller, Trouba, Nemeth, Schneider, and Shesterkin in net. Rangers spend the first minute of the game in the offensive zone, really pushing hard. 90 seconds in, a long outlet pass to Zibanejad leads him to go around the net, and he passes out front to Vetrano, who couldn't quite bury it. 3:45 in, Teravainen is alone in front, but Shesterkin stops him. Second line with a good shift about 5.5 minutes in, and then at 7:48, Vetrano takes a tripping penalty, but Kopp and Goudreau have a 2-on-1 shorthanded that is unfortunately broken up, and then Shesterkin makes about 4 saves in the last 30 seconds of that penalty kill. 8 minutes left in the period. Kreider had a breakaway chance, but the goalie came out and pushed the puck away before Kreider could collect it. Panarin, showing just how good he is at handling the puck in the offensive zone, just puts the moves on Jaccob Slavin, and the crowd eats it up. They go crazy. He's just dishing back and forth underneath Slavin's stick, making him turn around. If only Zibanejad had scored on Panarin's eventual pass to the front, that would have just made it so much better. 15:42, Reeves takes a holding penalty. Controversial call, according to Gallant. He felt that Shea interfered with Reeves before Reeves ended up taking the holding penalty, but it was a great penalty kill for the Rangers anyway. 18:18, Shea takes a hooking penalty, so karmic justice, I guess. End of the period, shots 13-11 in favor of Carolina. Rangers controlled the first part of the period, but Carolina came back storming in, controlling the later part of the period. Rangers would start the second period with 18 seconds of power play. That would run out, but then at 38 seconds, Stahl would take a hooking penalty, so the Rangers go back on the power play. Much better on this one. Carolina has the #1 penalty kill in the league, and if you watch the game tonight, you understand why. They do not box up in the center of their zone and just wait for a pass to come near them. They attack. They swarm 100% of the time. Power plays, sometimes your team gets to pass along the outside pretty much with impunity, but not against Carolina. 3:27, Necas takes a tripping penalty, so within the first 5 minutes of the second period, the Rangers had almost 4.5 minutes of power play time. Shesterkin makes a big save on Teravainen shorthanded. Rangers couldn't score on that power play. 7:05, Trocheck scores the opening goal of the game. So Carolina up 1-0. The first line with some pressure shortly after that Trocheck goal, though. Kopp and Panarin went to the locker room before halfway through the second period. So Kopp and Panarin not even playing half the hockey game. They go to the locker room and they would not return. Hopefully, those are not long-term injuries. The Rangers do play again tomorrow night. Maybe they play it safe and they keep Kopp and Panarin out of the lineup until Friday against Washington. It is the Montreal Canadiens, one of the worst teams in the league. You know, you put Gauthier and Brodzinski back in the lineup for tomorrow night and just, play the Canadiens. Georgiev's going to be in net for sure. Tomorrow might be more of a slog than it should be, but the Rangers should be able to still come out with the win. Carolina pushes hard halfway through the period. The Rangers push back with about 8.5 left. 7 minutes left the first time with a flurry of chances, and then at 13:48, Martinook would score a goal. It was a step-on shot that deflected off of Martinook and got into the net. 14:01, Gaudreau and Cole have a little fight. And then Shesterkin makes a save on Jarvis right in front with about 4 minutes left. Carolina pushing late, really wants to run up the score at this point. 16:56, Kreider scores his 52nd goal of the season, which ties him for second all-time in Rangers franchise history for goals in a season. If he scores 2 more this season, he will tie Jágr for first place. And if he scores 3, he has 2 games. If he scores 3 goals within those 2 games, he will hold the record, the Rangers record for goals in a season, which would be nuts. It was during a delayed penalty. Vatrano was hooked on his way into the zone. He one-hands the puck ahead to a streaking Kreider. He's able to put it into the net. But 23 seconds later, Teravainen would score. A minute 23 seconds later, sorry. Teravainen would score, putting Carolina back up by 2 goals. It was a 2-on-1 after a neutral zone turnover by the Rangers. Hedl is sprung for a chance in the final minute, and then lines come together in the final seconds. 19:55, Fox and Niederreiter take offsetting roughing penalties. That comes out of the lines coming together. It was getting a little scrummy. Fox and Niederreiter take the penalties. Shots 15-12 in favor of Carolina. DeAngelo chopped at Miller's legs at the buzzer. Classic DeAngelo. The fans booed him every time he touched the puck. He's human garbage. We all know that. Third period, 4-on-4 for about 1:55. And 32 seconds into the period, Aho would score a goal. Miller makes a great play on Jarvis, but Aho collects the garbage from that, and he ends up putting it in. So Carolina up 4-1 to start the third period. Rangers would come back, though. 90 seconds in, there's a scramble in the crease, and there's a wide-open net for the Rangers. Carolina goalie was on his stomach. Couldn't quite put it in, though. Things quiet down for a lot of the middle part of this period, but Carolina gets some pressure about 9 minutes left in the period. 7:40 left, Shesterkin 2 great saves on Stepan, the first of which was a deflection. Stepan collects the rebound, stymied for the second time. 13:12, Trouba scores his 11th goal of the season, which is a career high for him. It was a shot from the point that deflected off of Fast's skate and got into the corner. Lafreniere makes a beautiful move to get to the slot for a backhand, very reminiscent of the goal he scored against the Red Wings a couple games ago. Schneider with a big hit on Martinook into the benches, and then Martinook shortly after that takes his frustration out on Nemeth. Rangers pull the goalie with about 3 minutes left, and they take a timeout with 1 minute and 11 seconds left. 18:58, Lafreniere scores his 18th goal of the season. Say what you will about Lafreniere. Maybe you wished he scored a little bit more. Maybe you wish he provided a little more offense. He has 18 goals this season, which is not bad at all. He's 2 goals away from 20 goals in a season, which any player will tell you that is a successful season, and he's still very young. So if you are on the bandwagon that Lafreniere's turning into a bust, you got to get glasses. I don't know what you're talking about. It was a beautiful pass from Kreider from the corner. He puts it in. Rangers within 1 with over a minute left to play. They unfortunately would not be able to seal the deal, but they get within 1 of the Carolina Hurricanes. 2 of their better players out of the lineup for the second half of the game. They still managed to march back and get it within 1. I think that's a good sign. They didn't win the game, but they really didn't need to. I would take the positives from this game and ignore the negatives. That's my suggestion. Shots 34-35 in favor of Carolina. Faceoffs 35.1%. Ouch. Power play 0-for-3. Hits 28-24 in favor of the Rangers. Blocks 10-8 also in favor of the Rangers. The trivia question of the evening had to do with the Stephen McDonald Extra Effort Award. Who has won that award the most times in Rangers history? I got this confused with the Players Player Award because I thought immediately, oh, it must be Jesper Fast. He has like 6 or 7 of those. But I was thinking of the Players Player Award. Adam Graves won the Stephen McDonald Extra Effort Award 5 times in his tenure with the Rangers. So there you go. Rangers are back in action tomorrow night at 7:30 against the Canadiens, maybe with Panarin and Kopp out of the lineup, so we'll see the ragtag group of Rangers assembling tomorrow, probably with Georgiev in the net. We'll see if they can rack up a couple more points before this season is over, and we see how they control their destiny on Friday when Washington comes to town. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more videos like it, be sure to hit the subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next rundown.